No regrets from President Biden. Very, very convenient of him to be able to be so powerful that he doesn't have to worry about the same crimes that were used to justify to raid his political enemies, in this case, Donald Trump. He just gets to, kind of hang out. He knows he controls the DOJ. He controls the executive branch, and he's feeling pretty confident. So we'll listen to what he said. He read from a statement that was obviously prepared for him by his lawyers because he can't speak without a script. And then we'll learn over from Karine Jean-Pierre what their plan is at the White House. Are they going to continue to not talk about this or what? Because the media is kind of getting tired of not having any answers. We've got several clips there. We'll check in with Cocaine Mitch and more. But first, let's hear from the president himself. President Biden hit the podium for days and for longer, for months. Many people have wanted to know what happened with the Biden documents. How did these things end up in his garage on a wet, damp floor somewhere under a lampshade next to Hunter Biden's bong? Well, the president has been very quiet. Very usual. Many Americans are kind of used to this behavior from them. And Karine Jean-Pierre has been flailing around the press briefing room while the president has been back in the basement. But now he's out. And here's what he said when asked about this. He was kind of irritated that this even got brought up. Don't you know how amazing the economy is and how great world affairs are? Why are you asking him about these old documents? Here's the president.
I will answer the question, but here's the deal. What quite frankly bugs me is that we have a serious problem here we're talking about what's going on, and the American people don't quite understand why you don't ask me questions about that. But having said that, what's your question?
That you did not reveal the existence of the documents back in November before the midterms.
Question: do you have any regrets about the documents and not revealing them before the midterms? Shut up, lady. Okay, shut up now. Okay, I'm gonna read whatever's on this piece of paper. It really doesn't matter what you ask me. Okay, shut up. Hold on a minute. Let me get my notes.
Hang on. Okay, look. As we found a handful of documents were filed in the wrong place.
Yeah.
We immediately turned them over to the archives of the Justice Department. We're fully cooperating and looking forward to getting this resolved quickly. I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets. I'm following what the lawyers have told me they want me to do. It's exactly what we're doing. There's no there. Thank you.
There's no there. Thank you. With that old little tap, tap, tappy with his binder thing that he does every time he leaves the podium. Now, you notice, right? He pulled out a statement. He goes, uh-oh, crap. Holy crap. This is a confidential document question. What am I supposed to do here? All right, open up the binder. There it goes. Reach inside that little inside envelope there, that little fold. Open it up. Move that paper aside. Dig for it. Where's the card? There it is. Perfect. Got it right there. Drag it out. What does it say? Read from the card. Don't speak. Look back down at the paper there, Joe. All right, now what's the question? Okay, now he says, what's your question? Now, once the card's out, what's your question?
Going on, and the American people don't quite understand why you don't ask me questions about that. But having said that, what's your question?
Okay, now he's got the card down at his podium, so now it doesn't really matter what the question is.
That you did not reveal the existence of the documents back in November before the midterms.
Okay, stop now.
Okay, as we found a handful of documents were filed.
Had a difficult time reading that word because it's hard. Failed and filed. They both start with F.
Filed in the wrong place. We immediately turned them over to the archives of the Justice Department. We're fully cooperating and looking forward to getting this resolved quickly. I think you're going to find there's nothing there.
Uh-oh. He stopped reading from the card. Didn't he? That statement ended. And now what comes next is off the cuff. Not good.
Looking forward to getting this resolved quickly. I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets. I'm following what the lawyers have told me they want me to do. It's exactly what we're doing. There's no there. Thank you.
Okay, so who are the lawyers who are telling you what to do? Do we have all of their names, your entire legal team, or do we get to know anything about that? Or what's the deal? Because we have a lot of questions there, Mr. President. It does seem like something there is there, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But did you notice who this fella is in the background? Who is this guy back here? Who is that? Who's this little fellow back here? Is that old Newsom? Yeah, because he's in California, right? And so he's got this little vulture who's hanging over his right shoulder, who is just waiting for him, looking at him, just watching, waiting. You can see, look at this, playing with the audio off. Gavin Newsom, just waiting for President Biden to flame out, to be taken out and ejected from the Democratic Party so that he can go in there and seize control of the Democratic Party. He's coming for him, man. Joe Biden, you better be careful, buddy boy. You got Brutus right back there behind you. Hold on tight, Joe. It's going to be a rough couple of months for you, buddy boy. Now, he said there is no there. Right? That's a fun phrase of him. Now, we know that that is total baloney because we covered this at length yesterday. Now, we've gone through a timeline here, right? Last thing I want to do is belabor us with a timeline every time we go on the show because I'll do that every time. So let me just skip that. But let me explain what we talked about and added to the timeline yesterday. Several clips that I'm about to share with you came from this article from the Washington Post. And I want to just talk about two dates. One date in November and one date in December. That's it. From this clip, the Washington Post, conveniently, they tell us democracy dies in darkness. Isn't that nice? Here's what they report. They say in mid-November 2022, in a communication that has not yet been previously reported, a senior official in the Justice Department National Security Division from the DOJ sent a letter to Bob Bauer, Biden's personal attorney, in November. Asking for his cooperation with the department's inquiry, the Justice Department asked specifically, let me move myself off this screen here. They asked specifically, right there, that Biden's legal team secure the materials from the Penn Biden Center and refrain from further reviewing them, or other relevant documents that might be stored at different locations. See that? According to the letter, the contents of which were shared with the Post. So the Washington Post is telling us that Biden's personal lawyers got a letter from the Justice Department, which Joe Biden runs, the DOJ, through Merrick Garland. And they sent a letter to the team. Stop looking at the documents and specifically don't go to different locations, no matter what you do. In November, Washington Post saw the letter that came from the DOJ. Now let's fast forward. Biden's team has said that they've been cooperating with the DOJ. That's the only stupid statement that we've heard from Karine Jean-Pierre basically this entire time. We did the right thing. We did the right thing. We've been cooperating. We're trying to be transparent. For questions with the DOJ, I refer you over there. November letter. Stop searching residents for confidential documents. Fast forward to this. Same article from the Washington Post. The garage discovery. Oh yeah, what happened? When did that happen? Biden had just returned to Washington from a long pre-Christmas weekend in Delaware when his personal attorneys began another search. Are we crazy? Didn't they just get a letter that said stop searching from the DOJ? This was taking place now 7 weeks and 110 miles away from the first. This time, the lawyers were looking in Biden's garage in Wilmington. So this is now in December. Pre-Christmas weekend. And they located another box at the bottom of a long driveway. It's where Biden stores his Corvette. The garage in this footage captured shows where the Corvette is located. Now, when his lawyers searched the garage, again, why were they searching the garage? They got a letter mid-November from the Department of Justice. Don't look in any other locations. They're looking anyways. They found one. They called a small number of records with classified markings. Once they made the discovery, they alerted the team headed by John Lausch, the U.S. attorney who was appointed back in November. The U.S. overseeing the Justice Department immediately stopped searching, and then they turned it back over to the government. So why, I would love to know from Karine or from the Biden lawyers or from the White House counsel or from the DOJ what they're going to do about that. Because Biden's lawyers were told by them not to go look at different locations for different documents. They did in December. We know that because they found the December 20th documents. It's this moment. Why were they disobeying a direct request from the DOJ? That sounds like obstruction. They're saying that Trump and his team did a bunch of stuff with the documents. They were disavowing and disobeying the Department of Justice. That's what caused the FBI to go raid their property, his property, and rummage through Melania's underwear. Why did that not happen here? If Biden's lawyers are still rummaging around in Wilmington, John Losh already sent them a letter. Stop searching. They searched again. The FBI should have raided every other property at that moment because they're disobeying a direct request from the DOJ. They're not cooperating at all. They're actually being adversarial. What are they looking for and why are they looking for it? And who made the decision to do that, to disregard a direct request from the DOJ? So Biden says there's nothing there. There's no there there. There's a big there. Those lawyers were rummaging around through documents that they were not entitled to be rummaging around in. So Biden said no regrets. Now, Karine Jean-Pierre, as usual, has to clean up some of this mess. And Biden, I think, ad-libbed that one in there. He probably does have some serious regrets, especially if it evaporates his presidency. But the White House was asked about this. Karine Jean-Pierre is back from a trip and is asked, does the president regret any of this? I mean, he kind of was on the upswing. He was coming off of a nice midterm victory. Things were looking good for him. And all of a sudden, boom, classified documents fall out of his pants. Any regrets, Karine?
What does the president mean when he said no regrets? Because he's also said he takes very seriously the handling of classified documents. So I'm unclear what he means about no regrets.
So I'm not going to comment further from what the president has said.
Why not?
Yesterday, I think he laid out his thoughts. He was asked about it. He laid out his thoughts of whatever question he was asked. I'm not going to get into specifics, or I'm not going to go beyond what the president has said. But I will reiterate from here that and basically what he said to all of you many times at this point, that he does indeed take classified information and seriously. He does
not
indeed
that
take
seriously.
Classified documents seriously. I'm just not going to go beyond that. I would refer you to the White House counsel's office for any specifics on the president's comments or how the process is moving forward.
Can you just shed light on was he referring to sort of the rollout of the information or about the timeline, or I'm just unclear about what he's not regretting.
And Kelly O, I totally understand the question.
Totally.
I totally understand why you may want clarity here, but I'm going to be
so
prudent.
Good.
I'm going to be consistent here. I'm
But
not going to comment on the ongoing process, the legal process from here. I will just let the president's words stand for itself. I'm going to go around here.
They don't stand for themselves, though, there, Karine. We'd like to know. What doesn't he regret? Does that mean he would take more documents with him? Or put them in a different garage? Because he's the president, he kind of has access to a lot of confidential documents. Does he think all this went well? And would he do it again? Karine doesn't want to answer on that one. So another individual, this fella, chimes in. All right, Karine, I know you don't want to talk about this anymore. I know you're tired of it. However, we have ongoing questions. Can you please clarify that? What did the president mean when he said no regrets?
One clarification, if I can, on the president's answer yesterday to the documents. He said in that answer that he is doing everything that attorneys are asking him to do, so this protocol and everything. Was his answer vetted through counsel or anything like that? Can you tell us that?
I mean, it's
Of course it was. He read from a script. What was he reading from? Who wrote that? Did you write that, Karine? Was the White House involved in scripting that? Can you tell us more?
the same thing that he has said before, which is he and his team are cooperating fully. That's the same.
You weren't cooperating, though, because your attorneys, Biden's lawyers, were rummaging through documents when they got a letter from the DOJ that said don't do that. So that's not very cooperative when they're asking you to not interfere with their investigation and you're interfering. Hello.
It's the same. That's the same answer he's given many, many times, and so has his White House counsel's office. Is that his and his team
talking about it in the way that he did? That was
again. He. That's nothing new. He has said that before. But again, I'm not going to parse the words of the president. It is, you heard him say what.
That's your job, Karine. Your whole job is to parse the words of the president for us. Every day. You're supposed to come out here and explain what the hell he's doing. Why wouldn't you do your job?
He gave his remarks and make his statement. I'm just not going to dive into that.
on the meeting on Tuesday with Democratic.
It's like they work in different administrations now. Are they working in the same White House? She's like, oh, we're not involved in any of that. The president is being investigated for crimes. Oh, you're kidding me. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So you better go talk to the White House counsel about that. I only want to talk about what this White House is doing. And you go, yeah, but it is your White House. What I meant is the economy. The economy's great. Everything, jobs are great. All right.
Members, can you sort of characterize what that meeting is? Is it sort of a temperature taking as agendas and priorities are set for the upcoming State of the Union speech?
Well, look, I mean, it is part of the new Congress, right? New leadership with the new Congress is an opportunity, clearly ahead of the State of the Union, to connect and continue to grow the relationships that he has with leadership. And they're going to talk about a range of issues. It is not uncommon. I think somebody just pointed that to me. I think it was Josh who said, you know, how common it is for the president to meet with leadership at this time. So again, we are doing what the president believes is important.
No, we're not concerned that he's losing the entire party. He's not going over there to glad hand the incoming Democrat Hakeems. He's there instead to just, check in, normal routine stuff. He's not petrified that he's losing his entire administration.
As he tries to deliver for the American people, to try and do that bipartisanship that he talked about right after the midterms, because that we understand that's what the American people want to see. And so that's what you're going to see next week with the president. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, we'll see. So no clarification on the no regrets or regrets. It's just all smooth sailing. Why? Because Biden knows that he's got the most institutions in the federal government weaponized and on his side. We are going to talk about that today when we get over to the conversation about the DOJ snubbing the Congressional House Oversight Committee, as well as NARA and them stonewalling the GOP. But let's first talk about Goldco, my friends, because our friends over at Goldco will help you protect your retirement with gold and silver. And of course, if you've got an IRA or a savings account out there, things are scary. We've got the Biden administration printing more money in the past 2 years than they have in the previous 100 years combined. The national debt hit a record $30 trillion, and inflation's the highest we've seen since 1982. It's only a matter of time before the house of cards comes crashing down. If you have retirement savings, your money could be at serious risk. And so talk to my friends at Goldco. See how you can protect your retirement with gold and silver before it's too late. Go to robertlikesgold.com and they will give you $10,000 or more in free silver when you open a qualifying account. That's robertlikesgold.com. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. And it makes you feel vibrant and full and thick and safe, man, with beautiful gold at robertlikesgold.com. All right. And so now let's get back to this White House, because this woman had a very good question for Karine. And she was saying, hey, Karine, the president is traveling a lot. He likes to go back to Delaware on a regular basis. Is there a reason why President Biden is traveling so often back to Delaware, Karine? Is he going through his old shoe boxes looking for other documents?
The president going to his home in Rehoboth Beach today, does that have anything to do with classified documents being found at Wilmington and none being found at Rehoboth?
So as it relates to classified documents, information, which the president takes very, very seriously, and you heard him speak to it when he was asked by your colleagues yesterday when he was traveling in California, I would refer you to the White House counsel office for any statement coming from here or anything new developments. coming from here. But as it relates specifically to the investigation, I would refer you to Department of Justice. So I'm not going to not going to comment on that piece at all from here. I'm just going to continue to be prudent and consistent and respect the Department of Justice process. As it relates to his travel, as you know, he often travels to Delaware on the weekends. I just don't have anything else to share. But anything related to the legal process, I would refer you to them.
Can you tell us, Karine, have all of the shredders been removed from his personal residences? Can you confirm that for us? Well, you know, shredders are very needed devices, and you know, the president has personal materials as well, and so I can't really answer that. So talk to the White House counsel about that one, and they'll inform you about the presidential shredder standard, and we're definitely not using a commercial company who comes and just takes the things out by the barrel full. Everything is transparent. Next question. All right, so that's Karine. Absolutely curious as to why he is going back flying all over the place in looking for documents. Have they stopped looking for documents? I don't know. Has that ended yet? Or are they still doing that thing? Because Merrick Garland hasn't said anything about it. Who knows? Now, Karine was also asked about this. This is a little bit of a tangent. So you'll notice on this screen here, there are, they don't want to talk about the documents. So what they did is they had their staff bring out these blue boards. And some intern back there was like, all right, Karine's like, all right, look, can you bring out some visual aids here for us today? I don't want to talk about the documents. I don't know. Just put anything up there. Anything. I don't care. So some intern is scrambling away. Feels like probably me during show prep. They're throwing a bunch of stuff on these boards, sending them over to the printer. They wrote, how about this? How about 2 years of delivering results? Okay. And then they wrote, you know, all these numbers, 3.5%. Okay, whatever that is, unemployment. 15.9 million, whatever that is, you know, COVID, whatever it is, doesn't matter. 300 million here, 11 million here, 10.5 million over here. Like, wow, that looks great. Okay, we could use a little more room to fill up this lower corner, but we're out of time. So next press briefing, just fill that in with some other made up number. Nobody cares. Over here, same problem with this one. Taking action to lower cost. You only have 3 rectangles on this one. We definitely could use a 4th rectangle. So the next time we have to get out here, make sure you do that. The intern's like, all right, I'm sorry about that, Miss Karine. I'll work on that next time. So they finally come out here. And Karine's like, all right, good enough. All right, go back to your desk. Good enough. Let me get out here and deal with these vulture press briefers. All right. And she walks out and one of these questions comes up and the person in the press asks this one.
There are 2 headings there that say record healthcare enrollment. One says 11 million, nearly 11 million. The other says nearly 15.9. What's the difference?
Oh, yeah. What? So the question is, this one says healthcare enrollment. And this one also says healthcare enrollment. That one says 11 million. But this made up number says 15.9 million, but it says they're both the same thing. People enrolled and people enroll. It's just a copy and paste. These 2 rectangles are referencing the same thing, but they're different numbers, 11 million and 15.9 million from this very, very competent adult in the room White House.
There are 2 headings there that say record healthcare enrollment. One says 11 million, nearly 11 million. The other says nearly 15.9. What's the difference?
That's a good question. I would have to ask our team. I'm going to be very, very honest with you.
Intern fired.
Let me get back to the team, and then we'll be able to decipher the difference.
Really quick.
Intern's fired. Sorry. Totally blew it, man. Not only did you not put all of the rectangles in there, but you're also copy and pasted the made up numbers. And so there's 2 of them in there. So you're out of here. You're fired. Next time, make up the numbers better. Okay? Make them better.
What's the difference?
That's a good question. I would have to ask our team. I'm going to be very, very honest with you on that. Let me get back to the team, and then we'll be able to decipher the difference.
Is it 16 million or is it 11 million? Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't really matter. It's all just made up anyways. All right, so that's what we get out of the White House. So you can imagine they really don't know what the hell they're doing with any of these documents. So the question comes in from the press, and the press says, all right, look, you're not going to tell us anything about anything, which is really annoying. But okay, White House requests go to White House counsel. Justice Department requests go to Justice Department. Got it. Now, let's set that all aside, Karine. You're very intelligent. You've been doing this job a long time. I have a question about process, White House process. Not Joe Biden, not the documents, not the White House counsel, not DOJ, nothing. Just about the process. Because you still have 2 years of your administration left, unfortunately. Can you tell us about correcting this process, or what you're doing to make sure this doesn't happen again.
I also wanted to ask, without speaking about the investigation or the special counsel specifically, if you could walk us through a little bit of what the process in general is supposed to be when classified documents are improperly found, and if the White House has any role in those circumstances, if they refer anything to the Office of Director of National Intelligence, or sort of what that process
How does it work?
should be. Again, sort of not necessarily referencing the current situation, but just in general.
I hear the question. It's been.
You see this poor guy? He's like a battered husband. You can just see he's just so pressed to answer this poor question. He does the prayer. Look at this. He even does the prayer thing. He's like, please, for the love of Jesus, man, can you please just answer this question for us? We've been here for 4 days. Help us, man, help us.
The question, it's been asked to me many different ways, many different times.
I'm trying yet another.
And I appreciate the effort. Again, I am going to refer you on the particulars of the process and how it goes down and how it works. I'm going to refer you to the White House Counsel office, my colleagues there. They will be happy to engage with you and listen to your question and answer it the best that they can.
Prayer denied, rejected. See you in hell.
I am just not going to be speaking it from here, and my colleagues who have already been engaging with many of your colleagues and probably you over the last 2 weeks. I'll let them take care of that. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Karine. Could you just speak a little bit more about why is it Vice President Harris who's going to be giving the speech?
All right, so no more questions on that one. Now, as we wrap up with Karine Jean-Pierre, the media's finally like, all right, can we at least are we ever going to talk to the president again? Is Joe Biden ever going to emerge from the basement now that he's under federal investigation for criminal charges by his own special counsel?
To follow up on that, he's set for very, very few interviews since he took office, particularly with print publications. Can you commit to making him more available for one-on-ones with both print and other outlets this year?
Here's what I can tell you. The president is going to engage with reporters almost on a daily basis. He did it yesterday. He took questions from your colleagues yesterday.
The town hall no regrets question, that one that he answered and then walked away?
When he was in California, and he will continue to do that. And he believes that's important. He believes it's an opportunity to, when he communicates with all of you or answers your question, he believes it's an important, you're an important vessel to the American people, right? Pushing out what he is doing on behalf of the American people. He does that almost every day. Almost every day when he's in front of all of you, he takes a question. That's the commitment that I can make from here, from the president. I'm going to move around. Christina? Thank you.
Nothing there. No questions. Every time he hits the helicopter, he'll just walk on by. And you get what you get, America. Now, there's other people who are weighing in on this. One of them happens to be Cocaine Mitch. Cocaine Mitch McConnell. He doesn't speak too regularly, but he did on this one. Mitch McConnell jumped on news radio and shared his opinion about the Biden documents.
On the matter of documents, let's forget Joe Biden for a minute. What do you have in your garage?
Maybe I should go out and search it, huh? Yeah.
Do you have a Corvette?
Yeah. No, I wish I did. I think the important thing with regard to documents is that both these guys ought to be treated exactly the same way.
Yes,
exactly the same way.
Raid him.
And so I think the Attorney General probably did the right thing by having two special counsels. What's good for one candidate for president ought to be good for another one.
Raid. FBI raid.
Comer's got a heck of a job, though, ahead of him because there's multiple, obviously, issues. They talk about Hunter Biden's laptop constantly. Is that a real issue, or should we move on to...
We'll see.
Come on, Mitch.
We'll it's just a matter of how much energy they can put into that. There's only so many things they can do, that's for sure. The fair tax...
Did you hear that? That poor radio host wanted a little bit more out of Mitch. Hunter Biden laptop, is there anything there? We'll see, says Mitch. We'll see. And he says, I guess it depends on... And McConnell doesn't respond.
One candidate for president ought to be good for another one.
Comer's got a heck of a job, though, ahead of him because there's multiple, obviously, issues. They talk about Hunter Biden's laptop constantly.
Respond.
Is that a real issue, or should we move on to...
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Come on.
It's just a matter of
how
much energy they can put into
Your
it.
turn.
There's only so many things they can do.
Your turn, Mitch.
Sure. The fair tax.
Did you hear that? He moves on to the fair tax. He just skipped right over that. McConnell doesn't want to talk about Hunter Biden. That host, man, he wanted to dig into it. But Mitch McConnell's probably sitting there and he's like, no, cut it. Next one. Next topic, for whatever reason. Well, we'll continue to cover that, of course. Thank you for liking this video wherever it is you're watching it and hitting that subscribe button. If you enjoy the work that we do here, we always want to see you on the next one.